Welcome back. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, and Rovi, and today we're going to be talking about Gensler, the SEC, Ethereum, and the United States trying to take down all of Ethereum.
Yeah, it's getting juicy, dude.
Leaving us holding the bag. Or this is actually very positive for bag holders.
Well, yeah, for like from a speculative angle, but from a Web3 ethos angle, I mean, it's a very
scary,
revelationary, right?
Yeah.
I think people are starting to realize, like, and this has always been the case, like, for even Bitcoin. Remember, that was a huge FUD point. At one point, China was, like, the major contributor to the ecosystem, like, a harvesting or, like, provisioner of hashing power within that network. So now we're seeing these same, like, angles for Ethereum. Right? Now that we've merged and we're proof of stake. So who owns or who's, like, facilitating the most of the validation in the network, right?
Yeah.
Well, according to the SEC, it's the United States, So therefore, like, United States owns all of Ethereum and all of its transaction, all of its everything. Right?
Everything.
20. It's ours.
$200 billion worth of network value, according to the market cap, all owned by the United States under the jurisdiction of the U.S.
Yeah, so I guess let's be clear, right? Like, it hasn't been like a public, like,
this is the claim by SEC, but not like debated in the courts yet.
Yeah, it's not like they're out there, like, with chest up high, like dude,
they won a case or something.
Yeah, but it's within, like, another case for an influencer, a well-known guy. You guys in the YouTube cryptosphere probably aware of him if you were around in the 2017, 2018 cycle.
I actually don't know who this guy is. Ian Balina?
Really?
Yeah.
I do. Just because during the ICO mania of that time, he was one of the main voices within the space, trying to break down individual projects, what their merits were, whether they were investable or not. He used to, like, break them down into tiers.
Yeah.
Like we do with everything, right?
Yeah.
F, D, C, B, and A, S tier investment.
Okay.
So, but he got so big and so popular that I guess at some point he felt, you know what, dude, screw this. I'm going to do one of these on my own. And he did. And,
so what's the use of their token? Like, what's the purpose?
Oh, that I have no, probably nothing, making money. Like, let's be real. Yeah. It was an ICO. That was like the 99% of the ICOs are just there to capitalize on that mania, right?
Yeah.
So he caught wind of that.
Okay, so now the SEC filed a federal lawsuit on Monday against the influencer Ian Balina for his failure to register a cryptocurrency as a security before launching a 2018 initial coin offering. Everything at first appeared run-of-the-mill. The SEC has for years filed civil lawsuits against individuals and organizations rolling out unregistered ICOs.
Yeah.
But there's a particular tweet, and it says somewhere in the lawsuit, the 69th paragraph, the SEC today claimed it had the right to sue Balina not only because his case concerns transactions made in the U.S., but also because, essentially, the entire Ethereum network falls under the U.S. government's purview. So here's a tweet. So there it is, the super massive black hole sized bad take at the heart of the Balina filing.
Yeah.
So essentially, what's important here? At the point of the ETH contributions were validated by a network of nodes on the Ethereum blockchain, which are clustered more densely in the U.S. than any other country. As a result, those transactions took place in the U.S.
Yeah.
So this has huge implications as to the strategy, the positioning that countries have, because ultimately Coinbase is in the United States. They have a bunch of ETH, and as a result of having a bunch of ETH, many of their transactions are taking place in the U.S.
Yes. So yeah, it's big for a lot of reasons, and man, like, where do you even start with this one? This is definitely like one of the bigger, I think, implications. And again, it's not official. There's nothing legal, like, enforceable yet at this point.
But it gives us a glimpse as to how the SEC views.
Yes, which
Ethereum.
is, of course, what everybody's kind of been waiting for. SEC has been saying a lot of things over the years through previous administrations, right, that seemed hopeful.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this thing, I like what you guys are doing here, right? Yeah, you guys are building decentralized ecosystems. Yeah, that's not us. Yeah. We don't deal with those.
Yeah. In 2018, right? SEC declares Bitcoin and Ether as non-securities.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they change their position.
Yeah, because I think now they've understood. They spent the last 4 years essentially researching, I guess, like Ethereum and Bitcoin, like what's actually the nature of a decentralized ecosystem, right? A network of nodes. So what does that actually mean? I think they came to the realization, okay, there's actual like hardware involved, computing. Mm-hmm. There's operating entities. These are actually businesses that generate revenue and stuff like that. So, okay, like maybe this needs more regulation than we thought. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not just a bunch of like weird dark web geeks like doing their own dark shit on the web that we can't touch.
Yeah.
Right. And because the majority actors who are facilitating this are very much entities that warrant regulation, like a Coinbase. Yeah. Right. I mean, they're publicly traded companies at this point.
Sure.
Right. So the government has all the reach they need to kind of like, leverage that.
And that's only because most of the transactions are happening on U.S. territory. And that's why.
To be specific, 45%.
Yeah, it says here, currently 45% of all Ethereum nodes operate from the United States, according to Etherscan. The second greatest density of nodes is in Germany, which is 19% by comparison.
Yeah, so I think the United States sees that, and they're going to exercise their leverage wherever they can, right? If this gives them, jurisdiction and like a judicial authority over the entire like Web3 space, which most of it is happening on Ethereum, right?
Yeah. So let me add another wrinkle here. So if you remember in our previous video where we talked about the Verge, the Surge, the Purge, and all that, all the Ethereum updates that are coming in the future. Yeah. One of the updates is focused on decentralizing Ethereum more.
Yeah, getting the the operating costs lower. Mm-hmm. More efficient for the average, computer, even like a mobile device to become, a contributor to this validation process, right? So therefore, maybe over time we can start to spread the load. Yeah. But if this precedent is set that the SEC all of a sudden is using this as grounds to be the regulating authority over all of Web3. Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to let the common man take that position over it. It's not possible. Huh. You can't let that happen.
But I mean, Ethereum's going to do what they want, right? Regardless. I mean,
who's Ethereum? What do you mean?
The foundation is going to build whatever it is that they think they need to build, and they're going to decentralize. And so maybe at this point, by the time this thing gets enacted, Ethereum is going to be sufficiently decentralized.
That's a good.
At least
hypothesis.
It is indeed a hypothesis, yes.
But the other end of that hypothesis is that's the beginnings of what of what we're kind of identifying as a bidding war for the future, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Yeah. So right now this outcome, how the SEC views Ethereum, incentivizes countries to encourage Coinbase to stay in the United States.
Yeah, which is funny because over the years, I always thought they would do the opposite. Like if the United States, because it's obvious, dude, the U.S. is way behind in the understanding of Web3 and its application. And because, when you really truly understand it, a lot of it doesn't serve the United States as well as it would some other country with a lesser geopolitical positioning, of control or monetary dominance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you thought that countries or the United States would just ban it, right?
Kind of like how China.
Yeah, exactly.
Ban, you guys do that community stuff. We're going to centralized, government organization. We'll create our own digital currency and, enforce that on our population. And
yeah, I mean,
that's how we'll do it.
I mean, think about it. 45% of all Ethereum nodes in the U.S. Next closest competitor is Germany. Yeah. Where's China? Yeah. Right. So the result of China banning cryptocurrencies is now they can't even participate. Right.
They gave all that.
They can't compete with the jurisdiction.
They gave the United States all the clout and the leverage they needed, dude. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They're gonna take that because the other option is they're gonna have the other option is an actual resource conflict. It's an actual hot war over who has the most cryptocurrency, right? Yeah. Which that is even debatable. How do you even achieve that? You just have to literally take it from others. Yeah. Which is very ugly, very not cool.
Yeah. Cyber war, basically.
But this other strategy, which I think is going to be the actual outcome of all this, if these precedents are set and majority network facilitation becomes a standard of regulatory enforcement, then the best thing to do is to, like you said, like what you predicted, really encourage like all the activities and the developments to happen on your homeland.
Yes.
Right? Because now you have like a real incentive to support all that, right?
Yeah, you're right. So I believe Ethereum is going to execute on fully decentralizing, because right now 45% in the US, that's not decentralized, right? Yeah. So they're going to execute, and this might be like a situation where the United States claims jurisdiction. If activities happen in the US, we have full jurisdiction. Yeah. Ethereum decentralizes, but this could be bullish for the entire crypto space.
Yeah.
All the countries are going to want to encourage development of crypto technologies so that they gain some sort of leverage on jurisdiction.
Yeah, some sort of position within it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to have theoretically, we would have favorable regulatory guidelines for U.S. crypto companies. Mm-hmm. And people are going to want to be in the U.S. to create a crypto company.
Yep.
So it could be very good. And then, so what does that mean? All the countries are going to want to hoard Ethereum, hoard, this asset, and it's not 10K ETH anymore. It's 100K.
Yeah. Yeah. See, all these hypothetical scenarios it really is making this stuff feel a lot more like gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see a day where Coinbase HQ is just surrounded by troops and like helicopters, black helicopters everywhere. You know what I mean? Just because, dude, you can't lose that foothold anymore. I see the whole other perspective now, the value of these things. So yeah, I mean, that's from a speculative
perspective.
Pay attention to this, because I mean, dude, this bear market's getting crazy.
Yeah,
there's so much like critical happenings happening in this specific bear cycle, and for good reason, dude, because during the last bull cycle, we used to talk about this all the time. Elon Musk isn't going to have the same effect on this next upswing the way he did the last one, because I mean, he kind of killed his credibility with all the meme coin supportage and stuff. Like, who fuck cares what Elon thinks anymore? Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So if it's not him, who's going to drive the markets in order for us to get to that like multi-trillion-dollar Bitcoin valuation and Ethereum?
Yeah.
And by the way, our boy Roger Ver publicly came out on Twitter today. He's like all in Ethereum, basically. Yeah. Probably because he's seeing all this. He's like, damn, Ethereum really does have like a huge...
It's moving needles, man, on the SEC scale.
SEC and like, there's just every now...
OFAC, especially OFAC.
Yeah. Yeah, now the government is like forced to really take a look at what's going on in Web3. And that's going to like make regulatory things more clear. Like you're saying, now there's potentially incentives to provide positive regulatory frameworks for industries to kind of thrive.
Yeah,
locally.
Because Coinbase, if they get a lot of friction from the SEC and like U.S. regulatory bodies, they'll be like, okay, we're just going to move our headquarters to Singapore or Venezuela. It doesn't matter. It's just outside the U.S.
Can you imagine Venezuela owning Ethereum? That'd be wild, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
what a turn of the table.
Yeah. It's like, damn, you guys all fucked up. We got to let them come over to our lands.
Yeah.
We'll gladly, support you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, this is definitely clearing things up, right? All these like questions we had for the last several years. Like, when is the government going to actually be definitive? What are they going to do once they realize like DeFi and NFTs and just the nature of distributed ecosystems is like a potential threat to them, right? But at the end of the day, the government always wants their power, right? Of like authority, global reach, no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess where do you stand on this? Do you think Ian Balina in this case and the SEC's statement on Ethereum, do you think eventually this is going to come to a head where there's going to be an actual case happening here, or?
Oh yeah. Well, there's another thing that we're not talking about on this video, but there's a whole Ripple versus SEC suit. Yeah. Like it's in like its final stages. So that in tandem with what's being said here, clearly the SEC is like paying a lot more attention than previous cycles, I guess. So it's obviously needed.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to get institutional involvement, government involvement until these like regulatory clarities are set in stone.
Yeah.
Right. So of course that's bullish, right? That's good. Like no longer is like Web3 like so yeah like some geek shit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like actually might be some,
it's going to be important for countries to have stake in the game.
Literally.
Yeah, like literally,
they're
gonna have to hold ETH to like have a say in the conversations.
Yeah, or if not that, because like I said, there's only two options, right? Either take it or facilitate it. Like allow it to occur on your lands.
Yes.
Use that as leverage.
Which that's the easiest thing.
Basically, like that's them participating.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're right. Yeah. That I think that is going to be the outcome. Like they have to do that at this point. Right.
Man, what a call, huh?
Oh, well, you have to go back and like edit in like that like black and white like moment from like a video from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Us talking about this exact thing. It's like, yeah,
man.
Will was right again. Fucking thumbnail, dude. It's gonna come back. But yeah, I think you're right. But
I mean, that's the government is really good about setting regulatory standards and like doing all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
It takes them a long time. I'm not saying they're good at it, but they eventually get to it.
Yeah.
But that's the control that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And if the control that they have is like, okay, now I'm incentivized to have companies, startups start in my land. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to have, favorable conditions for those startups. Yeah. And if the next startup like Coinbase comes in, starts scooping up all the ETH because they have the best business model, whatever it is that encourages that. Yeah. Now they have regulatory say on an entire ecosystem that people in, multiple countries are using.
Yeah, and they're already using that as support to go after this guy.
Yeah.
He don't live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they already had grounds because, I guess he accepted money from U.S. citizens, so that's definitely a no-no.
Yeah.
Right? You should know better. You shouldn't do that if you're ever doing some kind of public sale.
Yeah.
Exclude the United States because you're going to have to deal with the SEC at some point, right? But he didn't do that. But nonetheless, they didn't have to include that last sentence. It's like
we control all of ETH.
Yeah, it's like independent of like the fact that you fucked up. It's like it doesn't matter. Even if you didn't fuck up, we're still coming for you because you're doing business on our land essentially.
That's right.
On our watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is like what? What do you mean? Yeah. So all of Ethereum. That's what I'm saying, dude. The whole Web3 ethos is really being challenged right now. This is like a great shakening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what's actually gonna happen?
There's a particular statement on here. I'm trying to find it. It says, under Gensler, the SEC has yet to take an official stance on Ethereum, despite leadership within Commission under the previous administration suggesting that Ethereum was sufficiently decentralized and therefore not a security. But if the SEC were to ever claim that Ethereum was an unregistered security, Fire, which is a lawyer in this article, doubts the courts would stand in its way. So the lawyer is saying that if the SEC claims that Ethereum is officially in the U.S. jurisdiction, the courts would be happily take on this case on, whether or not it actually is or not.
Yeah, you think the courts are gonna like have some sort of
but who would battle
counter argument?
Who would battle the SEC though? Maybe it would be Coinbase. So like Coinbase, all the transactions are happening in Coinbase, right? Because they're one of the biggest ETH holders. But maybe they have some sort of way to like claim that it's a distributed network, blah blah blah.
It might be the Ethereum Foundation, dude. Like this might be the first case like where like an actual DAO versus like a centralized government, like a showdown.
Man, this is a TV show.
Yeah, the Ethereum Foundation is gonna have to like
step up,
just liquidate some ETH at some point and like hire like a ace team,
all
of
the lawyers,
all the lawyers from all over the planet. It's like a super team of lawyers.
Yeah,
it's like we're here to defend our decentralized economy. And, we'll see.
Dang,
that could be it, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. This is like a total juice factory. Like I'm so. Didn't I say I love bear markets, dude? Bear markets are fucking way more entertaining than bull markets. Bull markets suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna learn a lot, and dude, all the puzzle pieces, the dominoes, whatever, they're falling in place for what needs to happen for Bitcoin, ETH, all these cryptocurrencies to legit become like the new gold.
Yeah.
Gold standard, whatever. I said like these things have to happen, but I didn't think they actually would.
I really, my prediction is this will never come to a head because by the time the SEC actually makes an official claim, Ethereum has already progressed enough to like begin the decentralization process, right? All of us would be able to download an Ethereum client on our phone.
Yeah.
Put an ETH in there. All of a sudden, we're participating as a node operator. And
so you think the United States will like surrender its claim then at that point? It's like, oh, I guess we're not the majority, so you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they say if the transactions are happening in the United States, we have control. Which let's all assume that's we all agree, right? You have control.
Yeah.
And then Ethereum sufficiently decentralizes the network with their next update.
Yeah.
Then it's decentralized, right? So it's
then it just becomes an actual competition of like, you know,
hoarding ETH.
Resource allocation, like governments versus people.
Yes, exactly.
Then
so
that's
even
like,
more bullish.
That's what I'm saying. That's the beginning of a bidding war between like the populace and like
dang.
And then who knows? The government might do some gold standard shit. It's like, hey, we're seizing all your crypto because we want to be the guys who hold it all, just like they did the gold.
There was a I don't know if it was state or country that they're willing to accept Bitcoin as a form of tax payments. So that's the time in our history where they're like, submit your gold, or go to jail.
It could come to that. Like if it becomes that competitive in the geopolitical scene. Yeah, China re-enters.
Yeah,
Russia's in there. India's in there.
It's illegal to hold Bitcoin. Give it to us, and then you're safe.
Well, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not illegal. Like you can still buy gold, but you know.
That's true.
I don't know. They'll like take it, give it to us, and then we'll issue you these CBDCs in return.
Yeah,
that could be like the transition.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But yeah, crazy.
So,
it's getting fucking crazy out there, dude.
All right, that's been the discussion talking about the SEC control over Ethereum. What do you think? Do you think the SEC is actually going to pursue this takeover Ethereum, or is this just SEC just like screwing around doing nothing important?
They fat fingered that whole sentence. They didn't mean it. Like, oh no, that was a mistake.
That was the intern wrote that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, let us know in the comment section below. Follow us on Twitter at @TheBlockRunner, MetaZone.io, and Roby AI. And we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.